एक मिनट बच्चों। Hello, my dear students. Myself, Praful Chandra Borse, and I teach physics, chemistry, and biology of Pearson IIT and NEET Foundation. So, this is a 7th standard class. Which one? Class 7. Subject physics. Which subject? Physics. What is the name of chapter? That is measurements. ये चैप्टर चल रहा है बच्चों हमारा. Actually, we have started our new session since from yesterday only. So, yesterday we all learned regarding some what is meant by physics, right? What are the uses of physics in daily lives? Clear? ये सब हमने कल देखा. Now, boys and girls, कल हमने ये भी देखा what is meant by physical quantity. What is meant by physical quantity? The quantities which can be measured are called. Today I will repeat somewhat. What is meant by physical quantities? Physical quantities क्या होते हैं बच्चों? Physical quantities which can be measured. Quantities which can be measured, which can be count, are called physical quantities. Physical quantities. Clear? Example: mass, length, time, velocity. चलो टाइम अब लिखेंगे. Acceleration, force, etc. Right? Which are the physical quantities? Mass, length, time, luminous intensity, amount of substance, temperature, electric current, power, force, acceleration, velocity, displacement, speed. These are the torque. These are the certain examples of the physical quantity. Why these? All these are called as the physical quantities because they can be calculated, they can be sorry, they can be count, they can be measured. That's why any quantity, if it can be measured, if it can be count, then that quantity is called as a physical quantity. Now, how we can count it, or what is the procedure to count of any physical quantity? When we try to count any physical quantity, then that time we have to compare itself with other standard quantity, and that other standard quantity is called as a unit of that physical quantity. Understand what is meant by unit? Unit क्या होता है बच्चों? For example, unit of SI unit of mass is kilogram, CGS unit of mass is gram, SI and CGS unit of time is second. तो ये यूनिट क्यों कहा जाता है इसको? When we try to count or when try to measure time, then that time, how much time, भैया कितना टाइम हो गया, उसका स्टैंडर्ड यूनिट क्या है? सेकंड. सेकंड के साथ में उसको कंपेयर करते हैं हम लोग. When we try to measure a mass, then it's we count that mass or we measure that mass with respect to 1 kilogram or 1 gram in CGS unit. तो बच्चों, जिसके साथ में भी फिजिकल क्वांटिटी हम लोग कंपेयर करते हैं, उसे मेजर करने के लिए that standard quantity is called as a unit. Clear? Unit क्या है फिर? It is a standard quantity. It is a standard quantity used to measure physical quantity as a, इसे कैसा यूज करते हम लोग? As a standard quantity, or it is a standard quantity which is used to measure a physical quantity by comparing it. By comparing that physical quantity. When we try to count, or when we try to measure, when we try to measure a physical quantity, then that time we have to compare itself with any other standard quantity, and that standard quantity with which that physical quantity is compared, and because of that comparison that physical quantity is measured, then that standard quantity is called as a unit. Clear? Example, boys and girls, SI unit of mass. Mass is physical quantity and इसका SI unit क्या है? किलोग्राम. CGS unit of mass is gram. Clear? So boys and girls, gram and kilogram, gram and kilogram, these are the units of mass. Clear? अभी समझ में आ गया आपको यूनिट क्या होता है? तो यूनिट इज नथिंग बट इट इज द स्टैंडर्ड क्वांटिटी विच इज यूज टू मेजर द फिजिकल क्वांटिटी. यूनिट क्या होता है बच्चों? व्हाट इज मीन बाय यूनिट? यूनिट इज नथिंग बट इट इज अ स्टैंडर्ड क्वांटिटी विच इज यूज, विच इज यूटिलाइज टू मेजर फिजिकल क्वांटिटी, टू मेजर फिजिकल क्वांटिटी. क्लियर? नाउ बॉयज एंड गर्ल्स, हम लोग थोड़ा आगे बढ़ते. चला रबिट? Physical quantities are divided into two types. On what basis? On the basis of, to express it, whether magnitude and direction both are required or only magnitude is required. On the basis of this, physical quantities are divided into two types: scalar quantities and vector quantities. Look here. Boys and girls, physical quantities are divided into two categories. Are divided into two categories. On what basis? यहां पर लिखो, write down here. On the basis of magnitude, on the basis of magnitude and direction. On the basis of magnitude and direction, physical quantities are divided into two categories, two types: which are that scalar and vector. Scalar quantities and vector quantities. You can simply say scalar and vector also. So, boys and girls, what is meant by scalar quantities? The physical quantities which are completely expressed by their magnitude only. Magnitude means how much. भैया length, for example, length is a physical quantity. कितना length है? 5 meter. How much it is? 5 meter. When we say 5 meter length, then we can get completely its meaning. Is that length is completely expressed. Direction is not required. When we says 1 kilogram of sugar, then that time, that 1 kilogram, this term, 1 kilogram term, it expresses complete mass of that sugar, how much it is. How much the mass of the sugar, it is completely expressed by means of 1 kilogram. I'm giving example. Example of 1 sugar, 1 kilogram sugar. Clear? So 1 kilogram sugar means there is no need to express its direction. Only we have to say 1 kilogram. Then we get its complete meaning. It is completely expressed. ऐसा जरूरत नहीं है. No need of that's no need of to say that 1 kilogram of sugar from east direction or 1 kilogram sugar of northeast direction or 1 kilogram sugar of west direction. Direction बोलने की जरूरत है नहीं. 1 kilogram of sugar means उसका complete meaning प्राप्त हो जाता है भैया कि the mass of the sugar, mass of that given sugar is 1 kilogram. Means how much? How much means magnitude. That magnitude 1 kilogram magnitude, it expresses complete meaning of that sugar, how much mass of that sugar it is. So scalar quantities are the physical quantities which can be expressed completely by their magnitude, how much. Direction is not required. Direction की जरूरत होती है कि बच्चों? नहीं होती है. Scalar quantities, scalar quantities are the physical quantities, are the physical quantities which can be expressed completely by its magnitude, by its magnitude only, by its magnitude only. Example, examples of scalar quantities: distance, sorry, time, mass, density, speed. Right, bachcho? These are the few examples of scalar quantity. To express this distance, to express distance, time, mass, density, speed, we require its magnitude only. Direction is not required. To express scalar quantity, direction is not required. Direction is not required. Only magnitude is required. By means of its magnitude only, that physical quantities, scalar quantities are completely expressed. Understand? For example, I started traveling from this point A and travel like this. up to this. This is my final position. B. How much length I travel? This much. Clear? And this length which has been traveled by me, that is a distance. That is a distance. For example, it is 100 meter. So this A to B 100 meter, it is called as a distance. डायरेक्शन की जरूरत है क्या भैया कि आई स्टार्टेड टू लेफ्ट राइट समथिंग लाइक दैट और ईस्ट वेस्ट समथिंग नॉर्थ साउथ, ऐसा कुछ जरूरत है क्या? नहीं. हाउ मच एग्जैक्ट लेंथ आई ट्रेवल, दैट इज डिस्टेंस. नो नीड ऑफ डायरेक्शन, डायरेक्शन की कोई जरूरत नहीं होती है. अंडरस्टैंड? ओनली मैग्नीट्यूड 100 मीटर. 100 मीटर क्या हो गया? उसका मैग्नीट्यूड हो गया. By means of that 100 meter only, the length I traveled, that is 100 meter distance. Direction की कोई जरूरत नहीं है. But here, vector quantities. What do you mean by vector quantities? The physical quantities which are expressed completely by its magnitude and direction. Means vector quantities, to express vector quantities, to express completely the vector quantity. If we want to express vector quantity completely, then that time we require its magnitude as well as direction also. See here, vector quantities or these quantities or vector quantities. चलो vector quantity लिखता हूं. Vector quantities are expressed completely by its magnitude and direction. वेक्टर क्वांटिटीज आर द क्वांटिटीज विच आर एक्सप्रेस कंप्लीटली बाय इट्स मैग्नीट्यूड, और उसके साथ में उसको क्या लगता है, क्या आवश्यकता होती है? डायरेक्शन की भी आवश्यकता होती है. एग्जांपल्स ऑफ वेक्टर क्वांटिटीज: फोर्स, डिस्प्लेसमेंट, वेलोसिटी, acceleration, these are the few examples of vector quantities. How? चलो देखो बच्चों, what is the difference between displacement and this distance? Here it is written here. Distance, it is an example of scalar quantity, and displacement is an example of vector quantity. Scalar. Distance is example of scalar quantity, while displacement is an example of vector quantity. What do you mean by displacement? बच्चों, look here. What do you mean by displacement? Definition of displacement क्या है? What do you mean by displacement? And what do you mean by distance? What do you mean by distance? Actual path traveled by a body. Right? What is the definition of distance? Actual path traveled by a body. Clear? Here, how much path I travel? I started my journey from point A, move somewhat northeast, then towards south, then again east direction, again north, northeast, again towards east, then east to south, then south, right? Then southwest, and here west direction. But how much path, actual path I travel? 100 meter. So this 100-meter path which I travel in random direction, whatever it may be, direction is not required. Direction here, while counting the distance or while measuring the distance, that direction is not important. Direction is not important. Only magnitude is important. How much that path I travel? What is the magnitude? 100 meter. So here, actual path traveled by me from A to B, that is 100 meter. So distance is 100 meter. But if you ask me, sir, what is your displacement? So what do you mean by displacement? Displacement का definition क्या है बच्चों? What is the definition of displacement? Shortest distance between initial and final position of a body. Clear, boys and girls? Look here. What is mean by displacement? What is the definition of displacement? Displacement को हम क्या कह सकते हैं बच्चों? कैसे define कर सकते हैं? How we can define the displacement? It is the shortest distance between initial and final position of a body when it travel. See here, I travel from point A through this route and reach my final position, that is B. Is it shortest? ये shortest नहीं है. When I want to travel this distance from A to B, then I have to travel in a particular direction only. Then that time only I will be able to travel shortest. ये shortest नहीं है बच्चों. This is not a shortest path. This is also not a shortest path. Is it a shortest? ये भी shortest नहीं है. फिर what I shall do to travel shortest distance from point A, I have to travel towards the point B in a particular direction. Just like this. See here. I will use my thermometer as a scale. So see here, boys and girls. Straight direction से मुझे जाना पड़ेगा from A to B in this direction. This is the shortest path. Clear? This is the shortest path. So here, to travel shortest distance from A to B, I have to move forward direction in a particular direction only. If I changes my path somewhat like this also here, will it be shortest? No, it will not be shortest. So I have to move from A to B in a particular direction. Then that time only I can move shortest. See here. So this will be the shortest distance. And shortest, to achieve that shortest distance from point A to point B, is from initial position to final position, I have to travel in a particular direction. I should not change little bit also my direction. I can't change my direction. I have to move in a particular direction. Air route, aeroplane का कैसा होता है? Straight, like that. Understand? So बच्चों, this will be the shortest path. This is the shortest distance from initial position A to final position B. So suppose this distance is 25 meter. How much it is? 25 meter. 25 meter is the magnitude of displacement and this is the direction. ये कौन सा डायरेक्शन है? ईस्ट एंड साउथ. सो साउथ ईस्ट जा रहा हूं मैं. कैसा ट्रेवल कर रहा हूं मैं? आई एम ट्रेवलिंग साउथ ईस्ट डायरेक्शन फ्रॉम पॉइंट ए टू पॉइंट बी 25 मीटर. Clear? So here to express vector quantities we need its magnitude as well as direction also. We need magnitude as well as direction. So that quantities which can be expressed by its magnitude and direction are called as vector quantities, are known as vector quantities. Did you understand it? बच्चों, स्केलर क्वांटिटी और वेक्टर क्वांटिटी समझ में आ गया? अभी क्या करो आप लोग, मतलब लेक्चर होने के बाद में when you will watch this video again, then that time इसको पॉज करो and write down this difference. Clear? Now boys and girls, vector quantities and scalar quantities के बारे में तो हमने जानकारी प्राप्त की. After that again we'll divide this or we'll see the different types of physical quantities but not on the basis of magnitude and direction. तो फिर कैसे? Look here. Physical quantities are divided into again two different types. On what basis? On the basis of whether that physical quantity is independent or whether it is depend on the other physical quantities. Understand? On what basis? Physical quantities are divided into again different two types. On what basis? On the basis of whether that physical quantity is independent, it is not depend on the other physical quantities to express it, or to express it if it is depend upon other physical quantities on the basis of whether it is depend on other physical quantities or not. On the basis of this बच्चों, physical quantities are divided into two different types. Whether that physical quantities depend on the other physical quantities or it is not depend on the other physical quantities. On the basis of this, physical quantities are divided into two different types. fundamental physical quantities and derived physical quantities. Which are that? Fundamental quantities and derived quantities. Physical quantities are divided into two different types, fundamental quantity and derived quantity. On what basis? On the basis of that, whether that physical quantity depend on the other physical quantities or not. Fundamental quantities, ये quantities होते बच्चों. Fundamental quantities are the such physical quantities which are independent. They are not depend on the other physical quantities. Their value is decided by the scientist. It is fixed by the scientist. Clear? These are independent. Means does not depend on the other physical quantities. Means does not depend on other physical quantities. And there are 7 fundamental quantities. Clear? Examples of fundamental physical quantities: mass, length, time, temperature, electric current, amount of substance, luminous intensity, luminous intensity. These are the certain examples of fundamental quantities. बच्चों ये fundamental quantities के examples है. Clear? See here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and luminous intensity 7. These are the 7 basic fundamental quantity. आप बोलेंगे sir, why you are telling that mass is a fundamental quantity? What happened बच्चों? When scientists try to decide the value of 1 kilogram of mass, then that time they made one alloy. And this alloy, this structure, it is made by platinum and iridium alloy. ये किससे बने वाला है बच्चों? Platinum and iridium alloy का एक certain, they took certain lump of mass. Understand? Certain lump लिया उन्होंने, उसका particular mass होगा whatever it may be, and they kept this into a box at 0 degree Celsius temperature. Clear? एक ग्लास का बॉक्स है बच्चों, इसका टेम्परेचर कितना है? 0 डिग्री सेल्सियस टेम्परेचर मेंटेन किया है. It is kept into National Weight Laboratory, which is present in Paris, capital of France country. And they told that This mass is 1 kilogram. This mass is 1 kilogram. It is made up of from platinum and iridium alloy. Platinum metal, sorry, platinum metal बोल सकते हैं. Yes, platinum is metal. Platinum element और iridium element, ये दोनों एलिमेंट का ये alloy बनाया उन्होंने certain volume का. And they told that this is a 1 kilogram mass. This is a 1 kilogram mass. So to obtain the value of that 1 kilogram of mass, did we do certain calculations in between other physical quantities? कोई other physical quantities का addition, subtraction, division, calculation ऐसा कुछ किया क्या हमने? दूसरे कोई other physical quantity जैसे कि समझो length, time, temperature, volume, force, power, ऐसा किसी का यूज हुआ क्या इसमें डेंसिटी का? नहीं भैया, इतना इतना मास लिया हमने, it is a 1 kilogram. So it is independent. Its value is fixed by the scientist. So that SI unit of mass is 1 kilogram. So ये mass बोल दिया बच्चों कि 1 kilogram. Then they told that if we divide this mass, if we divide this mass into 1000 equal part, how much? Divide into 1000 equal part. Then that time, that one part is 1000 part of 1 kilogram. Clear? 1 by 1000 part of kilogram. Scientists told that it is a 1 gram. It is 1 gram. Means the value of that 1 kilogram mass or the value of 1 gram mass, it is decided, it is fixed by the scientist. Understand? To obtain this value, to obtain the value of 1 kilogram or to obtain the value of 1 kilogram, भैया हमें किसी अदर फिजिकल क्वांटिटी जैसे कि टेम्परेचर, ल्यूमिनस इंटेंसिटी, अमाउंट ऑफ सब्सटेंस, पावर, फोर्स, टॉर्क, वेलोसिटी, स्पीड, एक्सेलरेशन, इस किसी का यूज करना पड़ा क्या? Whether these physical quantities or other physical quantities are involved to obtain the or to get the value of the 1 kilogram mass or to get the value of 1 gram of mass? No. So that's why 1 kilogram, it is a unit. Kilogram, it is unit of mass. Gram, it is a CGS unit of mass. So mass is fundamental quantity. Mass is fundamental quantity. Clear, boys and girls? Now, कितने फंडामेंटल क्वांटिटीज है आप खाली ख्याल में रखो. 7, which are that? Number 1, mass. Number 2, length. Number 3, time. Number 4, temperature. Number 5, electric current. Number 6, amount of substance. And number 7, luminous intensity. What do you mean by luminous intensity? Luminous intensity is nothing but this physical quantity, luminous intensity. It decides how much intense the light is. भैया लाइट कितना प्रखर है, कितना तेज है, डार्कनेस है थोड़ा सा, क्या ज्यादा डार्कनेस है या कंप्लीट ब्राइटनेस है, फुल ब्राइटनेस है, दैट इंटेंसिटी ऑफ लाइट, ये कौन डिसाइड करता है? ल्यूमिनस इंटेंसिटी है. देन डिराइव क्वांटिटीज. Derived quantities are the physical quantities that are depend on the other physical quantities to get their value or to obtain them or to express them. We have to do some calculation between other physical quantities. So they are depend on the other physical quantities. These are or these depend on other physical quantities. Example: area, volume, force, acceleration, speed, velocity. These are the certain examples of derived quantities. How? See here. I am having this rectangle. Length is 10 meter. Its breadth or width bolo. It is a 5 meter. We have to find out its area. इसका area find out करो बच्चों. All of you know that area of rectangle is equal to length into breadth. Breadth क्या है? ये भी तो एक प्रकार की length ही है. Right? So area is equal to area of rectangle is equal to length into breadth. So ये breadth क्या है? ये भी तो एक प्रकार की length ही है. So area is equal to length into length. This length is 10 meter and this breadth length it is 5 meter. So total area is equal to 10 5 are 50 meter into meter square. So we got this value of area. Area of this plot is 50 square meter. How much it is? 50 square meter. Clear? So to obtain the value of area, we have multiplied these two fundamental quantities, length and length. Clear? Then only we get the value of area. So that's why area is derived quantity. Derived quantities are the quantities which are depend on the other physical quantities. For what purpose? To express them completely. To express them completely. क्या जरूरत होती है? दूसरे किसी अदर फंडामेंटल क्वांटिटीज का कैलकुलेशन करना पड़ता है. जैसे कि फॉर एग्जांपल स्पीड. Speed, why speed is a derived quantity? Speed is equal to distance divided by time. अब बच्चों डिस्टेंस जो भी होता है वो क्या होता है? डिस्टेंस इज नथिंग बट इट इज वन टाइप ऑफ लेंथ. डिस्टेंस क्या होता है? इट इज वन टाइप ऑफ लेंथ एंड ऑल ऑफ यू नो दैट लेंथ इज अ फंडामेंटल क्वांटिटी divided by time. Time is also fundamental quantity. So length divided by time taken. By doing this calculation only we get the value of speed. That's why speed is derived quantity. Speed is derived quantity. Right? Okay बच्चों, bye. जैसे ये वीडियो खत्म हो जाएगा, what you have to do? Again watch this video and write down this all what I have written on the board. Clear? Bye.